seems, or there's proof, that Mackenzie was somewhat leading a double life. Now, I'm not one to judge her for that, but the line of work that she was doing would heighten your risk to possibly need to be maybe more aware of who you're meeting and things of this nature. But it went on a 11-day stretch. Today would be the 12th day because yesterday Ajayi Ayola was arrested, and the suspect lived about 5 miles from the park where Mackenzie was last seen. According to his LinkedIn page, he is a former information technology specialist for the U.S. Army, and he recently worked for Dell and Goldman Sachs. Investigators were tracking her cell, and they discovered that 23-year-old Mackenzie Lueck and the man expected to be charged, in which he was, with her murder, were both in the park where she was last seen on June 17th, within a minute from each other. That was around the time Lueck's phone stopped receiving data or location services. Ajayi Ayola, 31, is being charged with aggravated murder. He also faces charges of aggravated kidnapping, obstruction of justice, and desecration of a body, according to the Salt Lake City Police Chief Mike Brown. Police found her pictures on his phone after Lueck disappeared. The suspect originally denied knowing what Mackenzie even looked like. But several pictures of her were found on his phone, and the digital footprint has continued even after the arrest. An Instagram account that Lueck's sorority sisters confirmed belonged to the missing student followed another user on Wednesday. Department did confirm the investigators are looking into the activity on the account. This is a digital forensic investigation. This is covering computers, cell phones, IP addresses, URLs, texting apps. Forensic evidence is also discovered, but the investigation is not just limited to digital footprints. Investigators also found forensic evidence after they searched Ajaya's home and property Wednesday. As they did this, his neighbors told police they saw him using gasoline to burn something. Let's listen to the police chief here.
Residence and property on June 26th, the arrested person's neighbors informed detectives that they observed him burning something in his backyard with the use of gasoline on the dates of June 17th and June 18th. The search warrant resulted in the findings of a fresh dig area on his property, which is the same area that the arrested person was reported burning something. A forensic excavation of the burn area was conducted, which resulted in the finding of several charred items that were consistent with personal items of Mackenzie Lueck. Other charred material was located, which has now been determined to be female human tissue.
The tissue is consistent with Lueck's DNA profile. A mattress investigators have been trying to find has been located. The police tweeted this last night, and they did it without providing any additional details. Lueck walks through the Salt Lake City International Airport on June 17th. She stopped communicating about 3 a.m. She texted her parents whenever she landed, and that was around 1 a.m. And then on the 17th, when she landed at Salt Lake City International Airport, she was seen on airport surveillance walking through the baggage claim area. And then she took a Lyft to Hatch Park. The Lyft driver was interviewed and said that she did not appear to be under any distress. And this was stated by the police assistant chief, Tim Doubt. The police also said on Friday that all communications with Lueck's phone ceased around 3 a.m. that morning, the same time they said she left the park with the suspect. Phone records showed her last communication was with the suspect. Her family and friends did not see or hear from her after that morning. Her sorority sister said that Lueck had also missed exams. She was extremely dedicated to school. She would never miss midterms or anything of that nature. She had not been home since she returned off the flight. She didn't show up to work or anything. It's been reported that the University of Utah student was dating multiple people through an online dating site and app and was a self-proclaimed sugar baby. This is what I was talking about leading the double life, and I'm not here to judge her. You just got to be a little bit more careful on who you're meeting. Ladies, if you're watching this, really, no judgment, just got to protect yourself. Mackenzie Lueck lived a double life as a sugar baby, is what they are called. A private investigator found this information. He found the missing University of Utah student profile on seekingarrangement.com. The website links young women looking for relationships with wealthy older men known as sugar daddies. On what appears to be her profile, she writes, and I quote, "Let's go on an adventure and get dirty. I am seeking a relationship that is mutually beneficial." Why does it matter that she's on certain dating apps or she has certain preferences in her life? Her friend asks. It doesn't at all. It just means you probably need to be a little bit more careful with who you're meeting and not be so vulnerable. That would be the issue for me. And my heart just breaks for her. Her family. Mm. A Utah handyman said Friday the man that was arrested in the disappearance of the murder recently asked him to build a secret soundproof room in his basement, complete with strange hooks on the walls. This room, he also had stated, would be a thumbprint to get in and to get out of the room. On April 4th, nearly 3 months before Friday's arrest of suspect Ajaya Ayola by Salt Lake City police, handyman Brian Wolf said he met with the man about some flood damage repairs to his home. Brian Wolf, a self-employed construction contractor who does home remodels, said he was referred to Ajaya, who he called AJ, by a plumber who had worked on his house. Ultimately, Wolf decided the drywall repairs were unnecessary. That's when the conversation took a turn. According to Wolf, Ajaya started asking him about building this weird room in a small space in the basement and making requests that set off alarms. He didn't creep me out until he started asking for the requests that he wanted in his room, Brian said. Initially, Ajaya proposed a secret door in a space that was roughly 4 feet wide and 7 to 9 feet long. But then he slowly started sidestepping into more stuff, like wanting a thumbprint, like I told you about, soundproofing it, putting hooks in the concrete. It was just weird, Brian said. Brian said, I kind of joked around about it, like, what do you need hooks that high for? He was like, oh, I'm going to hang these wine racks up there. And I was like, dude, well, I can hang your wine racks for you and not have these big gaudy hooks that you want up there. And then I was asking him why he wanted it soundproof. And he said, if I want to sit down here and listen to my music really loud and drink my wine or whiskey. And Brian said he was thinking, like, why would you sit in a tiny little, like, a little bigger than a walk-in closet room and listen to your music really loud and drink your wine or whiskey or whatever? I got a bad gut feeling, Brian said, and even my nephew, when we got out to the truck, we both looked at each other and said, was that weird? And he said, yep. And then the nephew had asked Brian if they were going to do the job, and he said, hell no. So, Ajaya was adamant about telling me that money was no object, he told Wolf, saying the man emphasized that he just needed to get it done now. This is worrisome, not only just for Mackenzie, but I have to ask, does anyone else think he's possibly killed before? And this is, I mean, crazy, him asking to have this room built, right? It's kind of like the serial killer out of Chicago back when the World Fair was going on. He had weird rooms like that, but he did it himself, or he hired the workers and then killed them. But anyways, moving on. He told, okay, and then this is still Brian talking. He told me the reason he wanted it done so fast was his girlfriend was coming out. He didn't tell me her name, but he did tell me what she looked like. He just said that his girlfriend was coming into town and needed to get it done before she got there because she was a Mormon girl. He did say she was a white girl, and she didn't know he drank and wanted to hide the alcohol from her. Okay, that's legit. And if you guys don't know, Lueck's family is Mormon. Wolf said he finally turned down the project, telling Ajaya that his new residence was too far away and that he wouldn't be able to tackle the job quickly enough. In truth, Wolf said the proposed project from the friendly and talkative Ajaya made him very uncomfortable. Wolf, a father of two, said the interaction bothered him so much that he told his father, his wife, and others. He didn't, however, tell the police about his concern that the room he wanted built was appropriate for anything other than something inappropriate. Some people say I should have called the cops then. But how am I supposed to call the cops and be like, hey, this guy wants a weird room built? I mean, what are the police going to do? And I agree with them. Mackenzie Lueck, 23, was last seen after she was dropped off by the Lyft driver at the park near Salt Lake City. She hailed the ride from flying into Los Angeles, where she attended her grandmother's funeral. You know, the thing with the Lyft driver, he was cleared. But I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. But does anybody else wonder if possibly the Lyft driver and the other guy worked maybe together? And so the Lyft driver gets her picked up, whatever, and to make it look like the Lyft driver was not involved, they like swapped spots in the car. I don't know. It's just a theory. But there's going to be plenty more to come on this case. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. So stay tuned for more, okay? Like, subscribe, share, or don't. I'll see you guys.